subject on this morning's Open Up. We're going to be talking about UFOs, and with us are two authors, Mr. Don Elkins and Miss Carla Ruckert. And they have written this book, which is Secret of the UFO. And we're going to talk about just about everything we can about UFOs and the latest developments, latest sightings. I think now, since we have movies like Close Encounters, and one of the networks is putting on a series about UFOs, that it's a timely subject, I guess. Now, you just came back from Mexico today, right?
That's right.
What was the purpose of that trip?
Well, the purpose of the trip was actually medical research, a paranormal medical research. But as a secondary purpose, we did a little bit of investigating with respect to UFOs. We talked to several people who had communications from UFO sources. And we have found that there are people all over the world now that have these alleged communications from UFO sources that match the material that we got out from the people in Mexico, correlated precisely with the material that has been communicated for the past approximately 30 years. And
you have another job besides this, I mean, a regular job where you pick up a paycheck, I guess.
Right.
Finances what you do here. This is all on your own, your
right.
research.
This is totally on.
So when you take a trip to Mexico, it's all out of your own pocket.
Right, that's right.
Now, how did you and Carla both get involved in this? That's what we'd like to find that out.
Well, in 1962, when I was in college, Don was a professor, and he asked some selected students of his if we would like to try a little experiment. We didn't know very much about the experiment when we started, but what it ended up to be was an experiment which is described in our book.
Is that having telepathic?
Yes, having to do with attempting to contrive or manufacture the type of contactee information that Don had been collecting for years from all over the world. The experiment was incredibly successful from the point of view of collecting the same type of data without we students knowing anything about it previously. And it intrigued me so much that I kept up with his work, and in 1970 I went to work with him full-time and have been with him ever since.
Now, do you have another job besides this?
No, I don't anymore.
So you're both working as a team.
Yeah.
You've been involved in this for a long time.
Right, for about 25 years. I'd like to add something about this Mexico trip. As I say, the primary purpose of the trip was medical research, but it's of a paranormal type, and it's UFO related. I got into this as a result of the study of UFOs. Quite a few people know today that there's a thing called psychic surgery. It's primarily done in the Philippines. Surgeons go into the body barehanded and pull out bloody parts. There's a lot of controversy about this, but we went to Mexico to investigate a healer that operates with a Bowie knife, no antiseptic, no anesthetic, cuts into the body, and performs surgery. We observed several operations, and we're both operated on ourselves.
You were?
Yes.
What for?
Carla had a kidney transplant, and I had a very minor operation.
This was just, you had
This was just performed, yes.
How long?
As a matter of fact, it was performed less than 100 hours ago.
And,
a kidney transplant?
He even took a picture before we came down with a Polaroid camera so you could see the fresh scars. I hope your stomachs are strong.
Yes, here are the scars. We took the pictures about 3 hours ago. You can
do we have a camera that can pick this up? Well, this is, how is this? First of all, I don't know if you can see the scar there.
There were actually two operations. This was the first one. This Mexican peasant lady says to me in Spanish through an interpreter, "I'll just take out your kidneys, wash them off, and put them back. And if they're not good enough, I'll take the two halves, put them together, and transplant a new one in the other side," which is exactly what she did. The top fading scar was done about 2 weeks ago, and 4 days ago she did the
there was
transplant.
No No sort of anesthesia at all involved in it.
No, there was nothing, although the healing, as you can see, is very well advanced.
I don't know what this has to do with UFOs, but this is a fascinating thing in itself.
Well, this is a very advanced part of UFO research. You get into all kinds of things when you start with UFOs.
I mention this because the UFO phenomena is very far-reaching, and the UFO phenomena actually led me into this type of research. This is going to London. I'm going to mail it at the airport tonight. It goes to a medical doctor who was present at the surgery Wednesday night. He left for London yesterday, and this will catch up with it.
Is surgery like that legal in America?
It's not legal almost anywhere, which is why we haven't said too much about the specifics. This kind of healing, although it has existed for many years, has not been recognized by the medical profession in an orthodox sense. And although medical people all over the world are working hard to bring all of this kind of healing into one.
Well, it's obvious if you had a kidney transplant, you must have had some major health problems.
Oh yes, I've been on disability for a year with arthritis, and the arthritis came from kidney failure when I was 13. An interesting part of this healer, and this is true of many healers like this, is that when I came to her with arthritis, she didn't even listen to me. She went straight for the kidneys. She said, all your troubles are coming from the kidneys. Diagnosis, everything, from a simple peasant lady who couldn't possibly know.
And now, how did she get the ability to do this? Is that how the involvement
This
with
is
UFO
one of the things that we're investigating.
Let me back up now and show you how this connects to the UFO phenomenon.
Yes.
Dr. Andrija Puharich is a medical doctor. He wrote the book Uri, about Uri Geller. The book
you mentioned in your book,
right,
too.
The book Uri is primarily about UFO contact. Dr. Puharich is the leader of the medical team investigating the healer in Mexico. We have been with him, and he was present and observed both Carla's surgery and the surgery on myself. We believe that both surgical operations have been successful. We'll know for sure in a few months. Now, the healing phenomena, the paranormal healing phenomena, is related to the UFO phenomena very, very closely. If you study UFO literature, you will find that in a large number of cases, miraculous healings occur when a person is either in close contact with a UFO or is taken on board a UFO. I'll give you a few examples. An 80-year-old Argentinian who had no teeth at all was in close contact with the UFO. A bright light was shined on him, and he subsequently grew a third set of perfect teeth. A highway patrolman in Louisiana had an alligator bite on his hand. He came in close contact with the UFO, and instantly the alligator bite healed. A doctor in France had a cut on his leg, a very deep cut with an axe. A bright light from UFO shined on his leg. Actually, it was over his entire body, but the leg healed instantly without a scar. A hunter in the West was taken on board a UFO, and after he returned from this alleged journey, he was examined in a hospital and found to have no tuberculosis scars, and he had very bad tuberculosis scars in the lungs prior to the encounter. This is repeated and repeated and repeated over and over again. And part of a deep investigation of UFO phenomena includes the healing phenomena, and that's what led us to Mexico.
Now, how did this little peasant lady find out she had the ability to do this, or what's her story?
This story is, all of these stories are fantastic, and is so far out of the normal that it's very difficult to get into a total explanation until you have a large background. But to make a long story short, she claims to, well, let's say that when she is in the altered state of consciousness, a voice speaking through her claims to be Cuauhtemoc, son of Montezuma. And Cuauhtemoc is a discarnate entity that operates through the woman and takes over her body and actually does the surgery. Now, Dr. Puharich was allowed to pull the knife out of a patient. This just happened last week. And he grabbed the knife, and he has a very calibrated pull. He's practiced. And he pulled a ½ pound and nothing happened. Put on a pound and nothing happened. He got up to 10 pounds before the knife came out. He said it was like it was held in the body by a magnet. When she did the kidney transplant, she put the knife in the body, slit through the entire back, made a slit for the kidney, placed the kidney beside the knife blade, and the kidney was drawn into the body as if by a vacuum.
Now, you were awake this whole time.
I certainly was.
What did you feel, Doreen?
It hurt a lot, actually. It's not like psychic surgery, barehanded psychic surgery, where there's almost no pain. There seems to be a different process working here. We're still working on the theory, the process of it, and we'll have a lot more work to do, but there seems to be more of a blend of magnetic fields between what the Chinese might call the electrical body, or some people call the finer body or the astral body, and the physical body, so that the field is more joining the two, and things are actually happening in the physical body as well as the electrical body. That's probably why it hurts, probably why she uses a knife.
Oh, where was this operation performed? In her home?
Mexico.
I know that, but I mean in her home, or?
Yes. It was performed in her home.
Are there any government officials around at all that see this?
There was this is a ticklish subject. I can't really talk about this. There was a
Moving right along.
There was a government official present. There were 3 Mexican doctors, a doctor from London, and Andrea Pujarich from New York, who is a medical doctor. It is a fringe area of legality.
A government official that was there as an American government?
No.
A Mexican government official, yes. I can't mention his name.
You must understand that these things are well understood by many doctors who bring their patients to healers like this all over the world, and yet, since the official picture is such that there are actually laws against practicing medicine without a license, you can't become too publicized and talk too much about it, or you will not only damage the healer, but cause him to go completely out of business.
Weren't you really afraid to go through a thing like this? I think that's a major operation, kidney transplant. And where did the kidney come from that you received?
That's another cause for conjecture. We looked all over and couldn't find one through our normal medical sources. And then the healer simply had one, and Dr. Pujarich theorizes that she materializes them.
Strange. We got to get to the phones. There are a lot of calls. Line 4, you're on Open Up.
Well, that was just my question.
Hello, line 4, you're on the air.
Other kidney come from, but also I'd like to know if either one of these people have had any personal experiences with UFOs.
I'm sorry, sir, we missed the first part of your question. Could you ask it again?
Part of the question was, you had already asked that just before I got on the air about where the kidney came from, and that the second part of it was, have either one of these individuals actually had any personal contact with UFOs?
Okay, thank you.
I've personally seen 2 UFOs. I know a UFO when I see it. Don't count something that is not identified as an unidentified flying object as being a UFO. I've seen a lot of things I couldn't identify, but I've seen 2 UFOs that are definitely UFOs. I have performed an experiment with over 100 people in fabricating what I call telepathic contactees. A very large percentage of these people have seen UFOs shortly after going through a training program that we've developed.
What exactly did you see when you saw a UFO?
Well, I saw a white disk make a 45-degree turn at a very high velocity with a 0 radius. This is a UFO. We don't have any aircraft that make 0 radius turns. It was relatively close. I was flying myself at the time in the cockpit at approximately 33,000 feet. I also observed another high-altitude UFO making right-angle turns at high speed.